Hey guys, this is Andrew Wright with another Review the Right Thing, and today I want to talk to you about some anniversary albums that are coming up for this year. I'm going to do them quarterly, so this being the end of the first quarter, I wanted to go ahead and talk about those albums. Basically, my criteria would be at least 10 years old, albums that basically I just enjoy, and I would do them in 5-year increments, because if I did stuff like, for instance, Iron Maiden Number of the Beast just celebrated 38 years, if I put albums in there like that, there's going to be a ton. So I just want to do it in 5-year increments, so like 10, 15, 20, so on and so forth. Figured to make it a lot easier, and there's already a ton. So there are albums that didn't make this list, maybe because I am either not aware of them, or maybe I am aware of them and it just wasn't as important to me to put it on the list, for various reasons. So feel free to throw some stuff in the comments if you want to. Anything that that is important to you, maybe I haven't listened to it, and I'm more than happy to check things out because I'm always looking for new music. And so let's go ahead and start these off. Syd Barrett, ex-frontman of Pink Floyd, left after their first 2 albums. His first album, Madcap Laughs, came out in 1970. Is now celebrating 50 years. The Sundays, an English alternative rock band, put out their first album, Reading, Writing, and Arithmetic, 1990. It is now 30 years old. Pretty awesome. Roots, everybody knows who they are, the Philadelphia rappers, came out with their, I believe, second album, January 1995, 25 years old. Do You Want More? Uncle Slam, a Los Angeles, California crossover thrash group, puts out their second album, When God Dies, in January of 1995, so it just celebrated 25 years. Agents of Oblivion, a project from ex-members of Acid Bath with Dax Riggs and Mike Sanchez. Their self-titled album came out January of 2000, just celebrated 20 years. Songs Ohio, a band fronted by Justin Molina, who I really enjoy. He's a great singer and songwriter. Lioness came out in January of 2000, just celebrated 20 years. Spiral Architect releases Skeptic's Universe, January of 2000, but also December of 99, because it technically came out in Japan, but the rest of the world it was January of the following year. So I'm going to kind of count it for this list, so it either just celebrated 20 years or is, either way, is basically within the last few months just celebrated 20 years. Norwegian prog metal outfit, though. It's their only album, so I feel it's worth recommending. It's really awesome if you're into prog metal. Cursed releases their second album, January of 2005, 15 years old now. They are a hardcore band that mixes elements of sludge. Conor Oberst and Company release another Bright Eyes album, Digital Ash and a Digital Urn, January 2005, so that one just celebrated 15 years. Beach House, a dream pop band from Baltimore, fronted by Victoria Legrand, released Teen Dream 10 years ago in January of 2010. Black Sabbath, we all know who that is, released their self-titled album in February of 1970, so that one just celebrated 50 years. Pretty awesome. That is a great album. Return to Forever, Chick Corea's jazz fusion group. No Mystery came out February of 1975, so that one's just now celebrating 45 years. Pretty awesome record as well. Soylent Green, a New Orleans, Louisiana band, released their first album, Pussy Soul, in 1995, February. So that one's just now 25 years old as well. Pretty awesome album, kind of sludgy, southern death metal. Ulver releases Bergtot. I'm not sure if I'm butchering that. I'm not even going to attempt to say the rest of the title. February 1995, so that one is another 25-year album. Ghostface Killah, you know him from Wu-Tang, released Supreme Clientele, February 2000, so that one is now celebrating 20 years. Pretty awesome. Goatwhore, Eclipse of the Ages into Black. They are a New Orleans, southern, blackened death metal band, members of Soylent Green. It came out February of 2000, so 20 years old now. Norwegian black metalers Gorgoroth release Insipid Satan, February of 2000. That one is now 20 years old as well. Virginian folk Americana singer Nico Case releases her second album, Furnace Room Lullabies, in February of 2000, so that one is now 20 years old as well too. Great record, I highly recommend it. Folk alternative country singer from Iowa, William Elliott Whitmore, releases Ashes to Dust, February 2005. It is now 15 years old, also a great record. Folk Bluegrass from North Carolina, Carolina Chocolate Drops released Genuine Negro Jig February of 2010 and is now 10 years old. Rhiannon Giddens from that group now has a solo career and has released, I think, a few different albums now. Freeway and Jake One did a collaboration releasing Stimulus Package in February of 2010, now celebrating 10 years. Probably one of my favorite albums of all time. I'll have to double check. If I didn't put it in there, I'm an idiot, but I think I put it in my top 100 albums of all time. I do have a little thing from, I think it's called Topster. You can make like an album collage. California harpist, singer-songwriter Joanna Newsom releases her triple box set, Have One on Me, one of my favorite singers of all time. Sade, Soldier of Love, February of 2010, now celebrating 10 years. Another artist who I think has just released nothing but incredible records. And after 10 years, come on Sade, we need some more. Astrud Gilberto, the Astrud Gilberto album, released in March of 1965. It is now celebrating 55 years. She is a Brazilian singer, and her and a bunch of people are responsible for the large bossa nova, the Brazilian jazz movement that took place in the 60s, and then kind of went through the 70s as well. Some of the artists had a little bit more of a prolific career afterwards as well, so not prolific, but they still were releasing stuff. Miles Davis, Bitches Brew, is released in March of 1970, now celebrating 50 years. One of the earliest fusion records, right after In a Silent Way, where he started incorporating elements of electric instruments. Many members from this group went on to do their own kind of fusion projects. Chick Corea, who I mentioned earlier with Return to Forever, went on to do their own material. Joe Zawinu left to form Weather Report, and John McLaughlin started his own group with Mahavishnu Orchestra. Goblin releases their soundtrack to Profundo Rosso, aka Deep Red, Dario Argento's Giallo slasher. March of 1975 celebrates 45 years. Awesome soundtrack. Everyone Knows Who Slayer Is released Hell Awaits in March of 1985. Now celebrates 35 years. Don't have to really say anything about that. If you like Slayer, you know what you're getting into. Bay Area Thrashers, Forbidden released Twisted Into Form, March 1990, celebrates 30 years. Death released Symbolic in March of 1995. It is now 25 years old. And it's important because everything that Chuck Schuldiner touched was pretty important to me. He was a great musician, and it's all awesome. Brooklyn MC, who I would say is probably one of my favorite from New York. Everybody talks about Notorious B.I.G. However, I've always been partial to Big L. I think he's pretty fantastic. Releases Lifestyles of the Poor and Dangerous in March of 1995. 25 years old now. Actor and rapper Common releases Like Water for Chocolate, March of 2000, and is now 20 years old. Chan Marshall and Company give us some more cat power with a covers record released in March of 2000, now celebrating 20 years. She gives us some covers: Bob Dylan, Tom Waits, and some other ones. Pantera, Reinventing the Steel, releases in March of 2000, celebrating 20 years. It is their last album they did. Norwegian black metalers Ulver release not a black metal album, because they actually changed pretty drastically over their 5-year span in between Bergtot and Perdition City. Released in March of 2000, it is more of an ambient soundtrack. Lo-fi rockers Dr. Dog release Easy Beat in March of 2005, celebrating 15 years. They mix elements of Americana and psychedelic, and it's a pretty awesome band. I highly recommend them. Tech Death Metal All-Stars Origin from Topeka, Kansas release Echoes of Decimation, March of 2005, celebrating 15 years. Also one of the albums that made my top 100 of all time. It's a great tech death metal album. Highly recommend listening to it if you're a fan. Erykah Badu with New America Part 2, celebrating 10 years from March of 2010. The most fun part of this was getting to see all the albums that came out at similar times. Maybe I wasn't alive when they came out, or wasn't listening to that type of music when they came out, because a lot of that I got exposed to in my young adulthood. But now I'm also so far behind on other music, and it's just going to continue to get worse. Oh no. And like I said before, there are going to be albums that I missed for this. I have about 4,500 albums between vinyl and CD, and basically I tried to scroll through Discogs to look at everything I owned, check release dates, and kind of compile lists for each quarter. And there was a lot of stuff, so Some things, like I said at the beginning, did get dropped either just due to importance. Some things I don't own, so I might have missed because of that. So like I said, if you think they're important, put them in the comments. We can talk about them. Really fun to chat about that kind of stuff. And if you like what you guys watched here, click subscribe to see more content. I'll be uploading periodically. This has been Review the Right Thing. Thanks for watching.